right now. They're somewhat familiar with turn one here at Crandon International Off-Road Raceway. And it's going to be no different than Pro 2s, Pro 4s, Pro Lights. Here comes Ultra4 into the Forest County Potawatomi turn one. Third year straight, Ultra4 here at Crandon.
Paul Horschel, Jeff McKinley, Casey Currie, Lauren Healy, Vaughn Gittin.
Now, a little different sensation where the lights are aimed at a certain spot, but they're jumping up into the air and they're looking down while the lights are up at skyward. So there's a lot going on right now as they get accustomed to, as the sun goes down, the lights get brighter. And you know what? Just like they're talking about desert racing where things seem to move back in the desert, same thing happens back in the woods.
Yeah, lighting back there is going to be a pretty big deal.
Horschel still maintains the top spot, but he'll go way wide as they cross the start-finish line for the first time. Is Casey up into that third spot?
Yep, you got going into the woods, Horschel, McKinley, Casey Currie, Lauren Healy, Vaughn Gittin Jr. Jeff McCullough, All South Racing.
And there they jump off the Argonne corner and take off in the woods. Yeah, you're talking about it, Dave. It's nice and wide through the woods. And a lot of these guys are from the southwest, northwest desert areas. So running through trees in this dust and with the birch trees and the pines and the hardwoods right there on course, this could be very interesting back in the trees.
Yeah, we'll see what the order they come out in. I guarantee you someone doesn't make it out unscathed.
Well, I often hear about desert racing down in Baja, and someone always seems to make the comment, they don't groom Baja.
Nope.
So this is pretty much, if you've never seen any shows on TV about the Baja 1000 or going through the dust at night, this is what we're talking about. You get a first-hand view of what it's like.
You see him go, there we go, into the rocks. Great camera work. So you got two relatively small sections and then a fairly good climb. It's a lot easier when you jump it.
Yeah, and you saw sparks fly from the undercarriage of the skid plates, and that's no big deal, not unusual. There's Casey Currie, Lauren Healy, Vaughn Gittin Jr., and here comes our leader onto the short course, back in that tight left-hand 180 for the first time. You know, I stand corrected, Dave. I kind of thought, after having been that bad back there last year, that this was pretty simple for these guys, and I'm seeing otherwise right now.
Yeah, and then we told them that you can't slide off the rocks. You slide off, you go back to the bottom again. So that's what Jeff McCullough was having to deal with right there. Stan Haynes, Brannick Motorsports out of Fort Wayne.
Yeah, they've come from all over the country to race here this weekend. Paul Horschel right there going through the gravel pit turn. Second time up off the Polaris Razor sky jump. I want to say maybe a 3-second gap back to second.
This gap is going to be all based off on the dust in the woods. So that's Dawson Allenton, 23-year-old kid, 24-year-old kid, racing the stock class car against the unlimited cars. Just bucket list item, wanted to race Crandon.
You know, even though they've been parked for a few days back in the pits and just kind of taking the whole thing in, this whole Crandon experience, we'll call it, you couldn't wipe the face off of Lauren Healy, or wipe the smile off his face, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not having such a good time. But yeah, no, he said they're all having a great time. Absolutely.
Oh, right front flat tire. Not sure who that is, but they're going into the gravel pit turn right now.
And Jeff McKinley on his side. Looks like the start-finish line turn. These cars are built to roll. They'll put them back on his wheels and keep going.
No, is it right? I heard a story where a few years ago at King of the Hammers that one of the cars actually flipped completely upside down. Only thing was exposed was a little bit of the forward tires and the belly pan. The next car that came along actually drove right over the top of it and kind of used it as a bridge to get from one rock formation to the next?
That's happened multiple times. If you're upside down the trail, you're just traction. Yeah, Jeff, it looks like he might have lost some fluid, but get that thing fired up and go.
So it looks like, are we at full
his
course
light bar,
yellow?
his light bar is broken though, so that's going to be unfortunate for him, but he'll sort it. Leader's coming up through the rocks, second time. Local yellow over there in the start-finish line won't really affect the leaders too much. What's
interesting also is there is a team from right here in Wisconsin, which you never really hear of, running in the 4400 class, and you're familiar with them. Brand new team, brand new car, and they come up here for Crandon for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. There's actually two from Wisconsin. I believe there's Eric Blaze and Pat Peterson. Eric Blaze, I think you're talking about the IFS car, correct?
Yeah, out of Sobieski or Swamico area, I believe.
Okay.
Von Gittin right on camera right now. Our leader coming through the Forest County Potawatomi turn 1, Paul Horschel. That car looks so strong, so smooth, and the shocks looked like they were set up just right the other day in practice, and he was one of the few Ultra4 cars that when they hit the barn jump was actually pitching it sideways, or able to in the air land sideways, and already set up for turn 2.
I mean, the reality is on the short course, these guys are pulling right around Pro Light and Mid-Pack Pro 2 times. So fast Pro Lights, Mid-Pack Pro 2 times, 750, 800 horsepower.
Oh, there we go! Lauren Healy, big time rollover. We had a action going on for position with Casey Currie and Lauren Healy. They touched slightly, and that put Lauren Healy over on his side. Multiple rollovers right at the Red Bull arch. Here's a quick replay of what happened. And actually, Lauren, I think, did it all on his own. I think he tried to go to the inside line at just the wrong time.
Yeah, it looked like he was here checking up, catching up on Casey. Lauren had a hard roll off of Walker's turn yesterday, so they worked all night just getting that car back together.
Quite a few fans are back there in the trees.
Jonathan Terhune, Michael Fagans, Scooby.
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers that you guys have nicknames for, which is kind of cool names and cool stories behind those names.
Yep.
And this is
Big
something
pass.
you see quite often as well.
McKinley just made a pass coming up the rocks with Matt Garofalo. That's the guy that rolled a second ago, so he's already making up positions. There's Eric Blaze in the 920.
It's not unusual to see a traffic jam in the rock section like that. And it looks like yellow flags are out for Lauren Healy here in the front stretch of the short course.
That's a pretty violent roll. I would be shocked if he'd be able to continue. I hope he's all right. They're not doing medical out there, so I assume the driver's good. That's good news.
Once they pass Lauren Healy's incident, I'm not sure if it's back under green flag racing or it's still yellow. It's kind of hard to tell what the drivers are doing.
No, they're definitely off pace.
As I see one flagman with the yellow out. Actually, it's a long yellow zone leading up to the incident site. And I don't believe it's a full course yellow. Maybe it's just a yellow in the short course area.
It might be protecting the course workers because the course workers are right on the outside of the start-finish line turn, right to the left right there. So they're probably protecting them in case someone bikes there and ends up on top of the recovery effort. Just a guess, but they're staying yellow pace.
Even as they head back into the Walker Evans Racing chicane before they jump off into the back section, there's another shot of Von Gittin Jr. Climbing the rocks. Now he's got quite a background in motorsports. Kind of talk about Vaughn a little bit.
Yeah, Vaughn's absolutely came from the drift world, so Formula Drift champion and overall motorsports guy. And about 3 years ago, he started racing with us, and we're happy to have him, and he's been a great addition to our community.
And actually, he's teamed up with Lauren Healy, I believe it was sometime last season.
Yeah, they do have a partnership now. They're formed a 2-car race team, and they're getting ready to head over to Saudi Arabia to race in an event over there.
So there's our leader. Let's see, looks like he got back on the throttle a little bit. See if he's back at race pace. Looks like all the yellow flags have been pulled in. And we're back at it. Horschel coming around the final turn of the race course. Still plenty of time left on the clock. This is not a just a time. It's a timed race, but it's not a just a time like you would find out
No,
in
land start,
Baja.
they all started at 0,
Yeah.
so it's all good. We were originally aimed to fill a 45-minute window of time, so they're going to give us a white flag lap based upon the time. I haven't gotten any data on lap times. Chad Hunt, 456. Jonathan Terhune, 890.
You know, one thing I've
2
noticed,
Indiana
Dave,
guys.
looking at these cars, there's not one car or 2 cars that look alike.
Well, that's the thing with 4,400 cars. It is unlimited racing, so you can build anything you want. We have front engine, mid engine. We have 2 seats, 3 seats, 1 seat. IFS, solid axle, whatever you wanted to make, whatever you think is the best formula for you and your budget, you build it.
Now, of all the cars that are out there in this class, what kind of price are we talking? You know, everyone knows in this area what Pro 4s are like price-wise, you know, to build and fabricate Pro 2s, Pro Lights and such. What are we looking at here to get involved?
You're getting a car like Horschel's driving. I mean, he built that car himself, but with the level of parts he has on it, that's a $300,000 car easily. But there's cars out there that are $40,000 cars, and they're racing wheel to wheel right now.
And what I find interesting, that even in the dark, the dust, the mud, obviously you know these guys like the back of your hand, but the fact that you can look at the profile of a car or a chassis, you know exactly who it is.
Yeah, there's that's exactly what you say. That's the silhouette of the car, the color. I've seen these cars for a long time. All these guys that are racing here, with the exception of Eric and Pat, they're both new guys to our sport. These guys have been around for a long time. That chassis that Mike Fagans is racing, Scooby's racing, has been racing for 9 years.
I'm still surprised by Lauren Healy and his situation. He's obviously one of the favorites every single time the green flag drops, as we're watching some of the drivers head through the Argonne corner back into the woods. Can you imagine the sounds going through the trees and how many freaked out deer are heading for the hills?
Yeah, they are not by the pond right now, I guarantee it. Paul Horschel still out to a very comfortable lead. See who's coming through here in a second.
Horschel crosses under the start-finish line, completing another lap, headed through the Walker Evans Racing chicane.
Got Casey Currie in second.
You know, I guess it was a last-minute decision by Currie to come out here and run. And that according to Casey, they changed everything in the drive line.
They changed driveline and completely rewired the car. They put a Motec system in. Yeah, first and second have checked way out. I think Vaughn Gittin is actually up to third. He's got some lap traffic in between him and the 2 leaders. There's Horschel trying to make a pass on Garofalo in the woods.
Yeah, Gittin, Currie, McCullough.
Garofalo's off.
Oh no, here we go. Even with the darkness and the lights glaring into the camera lens straight on, some of this footage that these guys are shooting is so cool. Something different that you've ever seen here before at Crandon International Off-Road Raceway. And you can see the light bar on McKinley.
Yeah, he is down to nothing now for lights. Give a hand to the production staff here. They for kind of a last-minute thing and being able to pull off cameras out there in the woods when they've never had to do that before. Kudos to them, and thank you for the efforts.
And we got a car coming to a stop in the back section.
That is McKinley, 34, the guy that the original roll.
Could be just about anything, just flat out can't see. Looks like he's got some roll bar damage as well from that rollover.
Jonathan Trahune, 890 car.
He's headed through the gravel pit turn. Pretty much all by himself. He's got probably about an 8-9 second gap back to the position behind him. Nobody in front.
Terhune there in the 890. That's actually a Legends class car. So that's if you were trying to get into Ultra4 racing and didn't have the budget for the unlimited car, you can very easily build a winning car, less than 100 grand, and go out and win a championship.
And you hear stories like that all the time, leading into the King of the Hammers. It's like you see a bucket list item for so many drivers that are into this sport or dream of getting into the sport, and getting to King of the Hammers, like I say, is such a huge bucket list item, and to finally show up, these teams are almost in tears when they pull into the Hammer Town.
Yeah, it's you put a lot of effort, all your vacation time, all your money, all your time with your family, driven halfway across the country.
In some cases, the world.
Yeah, we've had like we had 11 countries represented last year at King of the Hammers. Our first racer from Israel. We've had racers from Kyrgyzstan. We've had from everywhere.
Right front flat tire on
Jeff McCullough, number 12, All South Racing, right front flat.
Now, are these guys running spotters like we hear about or see in short course?
Absolutely, required for us, same way. They're on the tower up there with JT Taylor, our race director, and they'll work through it same way.
Boy, you see the sparks coming out of the brake pads as he ducks back into the wood section behind Argonne Turn. Now, do you think Casey has a little bit of an advantage at a place like this, where it's kind of like a hybrid, we'll call it a national track up in Reno and a short course with all his short course experience?
Certainly, I mean, to be able to rotate the car, I mean, he's definitely got advantage in the short course, but on experience. But Paul Horschel's a racer. I mean, he's still out there, got the lead. See if Casey can reel him in. Really good story about that guy Dawson Allenton right there in the stock class car. He's had a really rough year this year health-wise, and he made the decision this is where he wanted to be, this is where he wanted to take some time and go racing. So kudos to Dawson for getting out here and putting a stock class Jeep up against these guys in the unlimited cars.
So outside of the car right there, are they all 4,400 cars out here?
We have Jonathan Trahune in a Legends class car, and Chad Hunt. I can't remember if Chad Hunt is Legends now or not. I'll tell the next time he comes by. You can tell by our number plates. If it's a white plate, it's 4,400. If it's a yellow plate, it's Legends.
Whoa, that Horschel coming through turn one. We heard big horsepower just blaring through the glass in the sound tower here. That's Paul right there.
That's effectively a Pro 4 car, but with rock suspension. It is big motor, really well dialed suspension. They've downsized their tires to 37s to race here. Usually these guys will be running on 40s.
Just for clearance purposes?
No, it's just keeps center of gravity lower for short course. You don't want to be trying to rotate on a 40-inch tire. That's not a fun place to be.
Just look at that travel work. Wow.
Given their druthers, I'm sure they try to probably run on 35s, especially tomorrow on short course only. But we made a decision to keep them a floor of 37s. That way, the cars still look appropriate. They kind of look like a roller skate on 35s. Casey Currie is caught up to Horschel, though. I mean, he can't be but 5 seconds behind him at this point. We'll see how he does coming around the next time through the short course.
They duck through the wood section, disappear
both,
for just a
they're
moment.
both catching lap traffic. That's Terhune, and this should be Horschel coming out next. Yep, there's Horschel with Currie right on him. Dust is laid down a little bit.
Now, where's the next event on the schedule for Ultra4?
We have Ridgecrest the weekend of the 14th, 15th, whatever that date is, on Saturday. We're racing with Snore Moore. It's a straight open desert race. We'll have 300 cars out there racing.
And that's in multiple divisions as well.
Multiple, yeah. That's with Snore and Moore, their desert classes. We'll have classes all over the place. Looks like Jeff missed the rocks again. That's the flat tire. That front left tire would have been natural to pull him off on the rocks. So we'll see a flat right. We'll see if he makes another run at it or if he pulls it off.
Now, where are the hot pits located? The normal spot for short course?
Same as short course, yes,
okay.
sir.
Here comes Horschel now as lap traffic falls off to the side. Once again, like Dave said earlier, he'll have to go back to the bottom of the rock pile to make a run at it again. Horschel gets around and makes his way to the top as we go back to the front stretch up towards the barn jump.
Stan Haynes and Dawson Allenton going around. Here comes Horschel going into the last turn with Casey right on his butt.
This is going to be a very interesting Potawatomi turn 1. Down that long stretch. Now we're back into the woods area again.
Well, looks like McCullough not only has a flat front tire, he's also broken the front end. He's trying to do his rocks in two-wheel drive. That's going to be difficult.
Here come our leaders now on camera. Down the skybox jump, down to the backstretch into the gravel pit turn. Currie is moving. Currie is making up a ton of ground on Horschel, our leader. It kind of almost makes me wonder if Horschel might be having maybe some sort of mechanical issues.
I know you talked about that experience. This is Casey being able to square out the turns a little more, get it a little under paw. This is the short course experience coming on right now. We'll see how much that dust impacts if Paul can stay in front of him going into the woods.
Yeah, Casey's trying to prevent that from happening. You look at the aggressiveness before they go through the gravel pit turn into Argonne Corner, and no, Horschel's going to hang on to the lead as they duck back into the woods.
I'm making a really big assumption here, but the way Paul stepped out there coming off that lip, it looked like he might be in rear only. So that would explain the big difference in speed. You lose front drive.
Vaughn Gittin goes by the front stretch here in turn 1.
Up on Dawson Allenton right now. Oh, I would not want to be looking in that mirror right now if I was Dawson Allenton. Scooby Fagans.
Coming around the final
long
turn.
time racing. Looks like he's off the pace, but
I don't care what you say. We don't know who it is, but that's a cool shot. That is neat.
oh, nose to tail coming up the rocks. Horschel and Currie coming back out in the short course right now.
They'll make a right-hand turn going down what I call the camelback section, where it's up and down, like a camel's back into a tight left-hand 180. Horschel got a little bit of squirrely coming out of the corner, now going to that tight left-hand 180 I talked about. The Land Rush starting line is right around there somewhere as they come right straight down into Forest County, Potawatomi turn 1.
Paul definitely still has front pole on the front end of that car. Let's see if Casey can reel him in on the short course again.
Just the way that suspension drops when it launches off of a jump, and everything just drops down and it lands so nice and soft, recovers, and just continues on. Almost like he's racing a lazy boy.
Paul's engineered that car himself. That's built. He built that car himself, and it's one of 4 race cars he's built now. And Currie coming on the outside.
Yeah, he got to run.
Boy,
watch for that outside entrance, inside exit move. It's like Horschel's got enough horsepower to accelerate out of the corner, maintain that top spot, but Currie still right in the back bumper of our leader as they head into the Argonne corner, headed into the woods.
You can just tell the line different, Currie versus Horschel's lines. Casey's setting up the turn, brake going in, accelerate coming out. He's just reeling him in on the short course.
He's kind of doing the opposite. He's braking, looks like he's braking early before he gets to the corner and accelerates sooner on the exit.
Yep. Same as a road course in a car. That's what you like to see him doing. Again, great camera work from production.
Well, with the temperatures, I kind of think they don't have to worry about mosquitoes all that much. Now, if this was July, oh. Our leaders should be coming around just a moment, headed toward that uphill rock section. Horschel will put a little bit of a gap back to Currie, probably about 10 car lengths. So
the advantage that Currie gains in the short course, I would give it back to the same amount Horschel on the rocks and the woods. A little bit of lap traffic with Matt Garofalo.
Oh no, can he keep it on the rocks without sliding off to the left side? Currie actually makes contact with lap traffic. They both get through that uphill section rather easily. Wow, look at the crowd back there. Yeah.
Look at that crowd. Fantastic.
That is neat. Once again, headed to that tight left-hand 180. Horschel, our leader. Casey Currie right there, about 3 car lengths back. Tight left-hander. Long straightaway to the Forest County Potawatomi turn 1. You mentioned a Pro 4, basically a Pro 4, and Horschel's. It even sounds like one.
They're not that much different now motor-wise.
Casey goes inside. Horschel made a mistake. He went a little wide through turn 2. Can Casey cut down to the inside? Into the gravel pit turn. He's got to run. Casey Currie, now our leader.
Great racing.
Casey Currie on camera, but Horschel's going nowhere as they cross the start-finish line, completing another lap. Horschel about 5 car lengths back, headed into the Walker-Evans chicane and the Argonne corner, back into the woods. But right now, Casey Currie up to about a 7-8 car length lead as they jump off the Argonne corner back into the trees. Yeah, Horschel's going a little bit slower upon entry into the trees. He's not sliding way wide going out. I just wonder, I don't think he's saving anything. He definitely might have some sort of mechanical issues right now, as Casey Currie's looking very, very strong. Again, this is Von Gaten Jr. coming around the Forest County Potawatomi turn 1. Believe he's running in that 3rd spot. Headed down the skyboxes to the backstretch into the gravel pit turn. Coming up on lap traffic. Now, outside of King of the Hammers, Dave, do you guys run at night anywhere else?
Yeah, we'll do night races in the desert. We did night race at Ridgecrest last year. Other than that, for the most part, we're daytime.
Just for a moment there, you saw Casey Currie on camera. There's our second place car, Horschel. Now, Dave, you are experienced enough to watch the camera right now, and even in the darkness, analyze his car and kind of try to figure out if there might be a problem.
All 4 corners are pulling. I'm not sure if it's a temperature, if he's driving the gauges right now, or where he definitely is off the pace a little bit from where he was. Seems mechanically going from outside, but hear that? Casey was sandbagging us for the last 25 minutes.
As he comes around the Forest County Potawatomi Turn 1. And for some of the fans that are watching us back at home, who knows, all across the globe. You got race fans that have never been to an Ultra4 race that just tune in because they're geeked out on this sport.
I guarantee you right now there's about 2,000 people sitting in England, Portugal, Poland, France. All our core fans in Europe are watching this right now, even though it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Think Jim Marsden is tuned in?
Jim Marsden's either tuned in or he's sitting with his hair buried in the pillow wishing he was here.
Casey Currie coming around that final turn as he crosses the start-finish line one more time, completing another lap. I think this just might have to be, and if it isn't already, will be a bucket list item for Jimmy. Friend of ours from the UK. I'm sorry, no, New Zealand.
No, he's from UK.
Is he from the UK?
Yep. I don't think they want to claim him, but he's from the UK. Jim Marsden being one of our most prolific racers out in Europe, building a new car right now, another off-road armory car.
Oh, no kidding. Now you hear some of those sirens in the background. That's not necessarily an ambulance or a police officer. That's actually in these cars, and it's I basically say standard equipment in some of these cars.
Yeah, so it's two toots, 2 taps, 2 tons.
Never heard it called that before.
You're trying to get by somebody, they won't move out of the way, you give them the horn twice. They don't want to move, give them a couple taps. Not, move them out of your way.
Go all Dale Earnhardt on him, huh? A couple of our competitors a little bit further back in the pack, making their way up that rock section back in the trees. Man, I can't get over the crowd back there. That is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, they are stacked. Thank you, Crandon, for having us back here. Cliff Flannery and Marty Fiocco for having the vision to have us come back out and supporting the racers coming out. They're paying them some good money. They're racing again tomorrow during the World Cup races, and couldn't be more proud and more honored to be here.
That was Casey Currie a moment ago, coming through the darkness.
Casey's still out front. Horschel still holding on to second. We should be getting our white flag lap here, if not this lap, the next lap.
That's Casey all by himself, going that tight left-hand 180.
It's got those rotors glowing. I think we still have Vaughn Gittin in third is my best guess at this point. I don't have live telemetry.
Man, Casey still on a really good race pace out there, coming into the front stretch area, up towards that barn jump.
If you're going to come around turn 1 and you got a healthy car, you might as well do it at full pipe.
Yeah, yeah. Seen a lot of famous drivers come around that first turn. And a lot of them are here this weekend, too.
It's a pretty amazing experience. 50 years and all the history. Saw Kurt Leduc out there in the car that the first car he built in 1978. Good stuff. Horschel's still pulling out there. He's still digging, but he's lost a lot of track position.
Yeah, to give you an idea, Casey Currie just crossed the start-finish line, headed into the Walker-Evans chicane. Meanwhile, our second-place car, Paul Horschel, just coming through the gravel pit turn, headed up over the Polaris Razor sky jump And meanwhile, our leader ducks back into the woods off the Argonne corner. So yeah, we're looking at probably a 60-second lead, possibly.
He's definitely stretched it out. Yep.
Yeah, I'm just estimating at this point.
I know that these guys, they want to win this heat, but the big prize is tomorrow. I can't imagine if Paul was damaged in the car, he'd still be out there pushing it. So I'm not sure what we got going on here.
We'll talk about what's going to happen tomorrow and what time of day we're running.
I believe we're on at 1:30. We're right in the thick of things with the other pro racers, Pro 2, Pro 4, Pro Light are all right in there. I'm not sure the exact order, but just when the World Champions will start in the afternoon, we're right in there.
Now, will the course be altered for the daytime?
All short course, so we'll race the exact course that everybody else had.
So they won't be hitting the rocks or anything like that. It's strictly right in front of the crowd.
Yeah, this is the rocks. But we made a decision this week. We're going to bring these guys back in the spring. Spring Crandon.
Oh, no kidding.
Bring 100 cars and race here.
Lots of improvements to the schedule for the Ultra4, obviously. There's our leader once again, Casey Currie. Boy, just watch that helmet bounce around inside that cockpit.
Yeah, it looks a little smooth from the outside, but I guarantee it's rough on the inside. You have to commit to go up rocks like that. Or be committed.
Padded cell, he means.
Yep.
Again, we're watching Casey Currie jumps back onto the short course section, headed into that left-hand 180. Now this kid, I mean, he's not a kid anymore, but I've known him since he was like in his teens. Has driven just about everything. I think he's like a younger Kurt LeDuc, has driven almost every continent in the world, various different race cars. And to have somebody like this, with this experience at such a young age, running an Ultra4, has got to bring a lot of notoriety as well as attention to the Ultra4 series.
Aside from his talent, I mean, and Casey's extremely talented, but he's also really honed his skills from a marketing perspective. I mean, people know who Casey Currie is. He promotes his brand, he promotes his efforts, and it shows. And you know, a lot of people talk about what happens on the track, but there's an incredible amount of work he puts into off the track to make his brand, and very proud of him and very happy to have him racing Ultra4.
Yeah, no kidding. In fact, I don't know, but that might have been Casey Currie laying on the horn right there that time by.
Letting Stan Haynes know there's a white flag, so this is our last stop around. And that's, that was Casey letting Stan Haynes know I'm here and I'm coming by.
In fact, the way you were talking about Casey before, the ambassador he is for the sport, he just this last year ran the Dakar Rally and did very, very well over there, and so well that it almost seems like that he has caused the fans of Dakar to respect American racers again, where they had not in the recent past. Without getting specific.
Yeah, they like black and green over orange. Is that what you're saying?
Did I say that? You said
that. You know what? Very few people have done more for off-road racing than Robbie Gordon, and love him, hate him. You're still watching him, and I'm a Robbie fan. We're happy he races with us as well. Mm-hmm. You know.
Any attention is good attention in some people's eyes.
Robbie's good. Robbie, and he's coming into the Hall of Fame this year. Coming to the Off-Road Hall of Fame. So congratulations to
Joining
Robbie.
you as a member as well.
I'm not a member. No, sir. I'm on the board, but I'm not a member by any stretch. And Robbie's long overdue earned it, and we'll be inducting him in the Sunday before SEMA, late October, Ormhoff.
Yeah. There's Paul Horschel back in the woods, well back behind Casey Currie, but still maintains that second spot. Someday, Jim Marsden, we hope to see you out here at northern Wisconsin, flying into Green Bay or Minneapolis, make the short drive. Beautiful drive like you've never seen before, but yeah, our buddy Paul's got to be out here. Or Jimmy, I mean. Casey Currie should be coming around any time now. There he is. He's just for the final time. Jump into the back section, hit into the left-hand 180. A lot can happen in that turn right there that none of the fans ever see during a race. Casey gets through cleanly. Now that long straightaway into the first turn.
as Casey's coming around to finish this out, again, I want to thank the production crew for staying extra hours for us and getting some cool camera angles and showcasing our sport. Also, of course, to Crandon race ops and for having us here, and then the fans of Crandon for welcoming us back. We love being here. You guys love performing in front of you, so we'll see you again tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you for allowing me back up in the booth and working with Dave. Casey Currie through the gravel pit turn up towards the Polaris Razor sky jump into the final corner. And I believe this is his first win in the Ultra4 series here at Crandon. Casey Currie, the Monster Energy #2, will take the win on the 3rd anniversary of the Ultra4 appearance.
I got to check my facts, but I think that's his first Ultra4 win, period.
Really?
I think that's the first time he's taken the top spot.
You know who we need to know? If I can get Miles Hasselquist to text me, he'd be the one to know.
We got Paul Horschel did hold on for 2nd place.
That's Horschel, number 19. He'll take 2nd.
It's a pleasure working with you, Scott. Again, thank you, Crandon. We'll get these last guys across the finish line, and we'll gear up for one more day of the 50th Crandon, the whole Red Bull World Championships. It's going to be a great day tomorrow.
Well, we want to thank everybody back home tuned in. We had a blast. The anticipation of running these guys here as the sun went down, the lights, the view was fantastic. We had a ton of race fans back in the woods watching us. We're going to do this all again tomorrow, not only with the Ultra4s, but with all the short course cars from the Sportsman Series to the Pro Series. We'll be back here again tomorrow morning. I want to say right around 9:30, 10 o'clock with the Sportsman cars, and we'll see everybody then.